Hey, what is happening? So today what I want to show is this is the most recognizable screen in Splunk, right? So this is your normal search bar, right? So what I have here is your search bar, right? So you can set your time to whatever. So let's say you want to search for index is equal to star, right? And then you want to search for today. You have very limited options like today, week to date, business week to date, whatever, right? And then you have the last 15 minutes, last 60 minutes, last 4 hours, things like that. So everyone who have actually seen or used Splunk for some time would have obviously seen the screen, right? So this is the search bar, right? So what if you have a business case which actually needs you to run searches, but then in the past quarter, right? Or in quarter one, right? Or the second quarter, or the third quarter, or let's say you want to run it every last 7 minutes, right? So if you want to do it, you have to do earliest last 7 minutes. Every time you want to search index is equal to star, and then 7 minutes ago. So you have to keep typing this, right? So if you want to okay, so if you want to search for your data, right, but this is, you have to do it like multiple times a day, right? So you want to search the last 18 minutes for whatever reason, right? So you have to keep typing like this last 18 minutes and apply and then search, right? So that is how this thing works, right? So what if I can tell you that you can add your own custom time here, right? So whatever time that your users are using commonly, you can add it here, right? So this is actually controlled by a config file called the times.conf file, right? So this is the file that controls this time, right? So using this times.conf file, you can actually follow this format, and you can create your own time, right? So when you create this time, right, so when you create the time, this time will be saved here, so that your users, let's say your user is always running reports, or always want to do searches for the past quarter, or the past Q3 or Q4 or last 6 months, doesn't matter, last 18 months. So you can actually go to timesconf and you can create a stanza, right? You can create a stanza like this, and then when you save the stanza, it will come here. So what I want to do is I will show you how this thing works, right? So let me log into the server. Give me a second. Right, okay, so now I logged into the server, right? So this is a test server that I'm running, right? So opt Splunk etc system and local, right? And now I'm going to create a file called timesconf, right? So now what I want to do is I want to create, let's say I want to create a search which is going to search from this quarter, like whatever the quarter is till now, right? So I want to get that option, right? So how I'll do it is like this, quarter to date, right? So the way it works is okay, hold on. So the way this works is you have to write like this, right? Quarter to date, you have to put in your label, header label, earliest time, latest name, and you have to set a order, right? All these settings are pretty straightforward, right? So it is explained in the doc, right? What this order is, and what this earliest time is, and what is the header label. So basically I can explain. The label is quarter to date, right? And the header label is what is for you to understand what it is, and you're telling Splunk the earliest time should be at the quarter and the latest time should be now, right? So this is how it is. So now while we are at this, so let's do this. Let's add some more settings, right? And now let's say we want to have the previous quarter, right? If you want to do the previous quarter, you have to type like this. So previous quarter, right? So I'll explain what this is. Right, previous quarter. Now earliest time is a quarter minus one quarter, right? So quarter minus one quarter, and latest time is quarter. So that is previous quarter. You see, so first it will seem a bit confusing what it is. So it is at quarter is quarter, start of quarter, and then it is saying minus one quarter back, right? So that is how you get to previous quarter, right? So let's add something else. Let's say you want Q1 or Q2 or Q3 or whatever, right? So let's say you want Q1, right? Every year you want Q1, right? So you have to do like this, Q1, right? So that is January through to March, right? So earliest is a year, because the quarter starts as January, right? Earliest is a year, and then latest time is a year plus one quarter, right? So that will give you the first quarter. You see the pattern here, right? So starting is the quarter, the start of the year. Earliest time is the start of the year. The latest time is start of the year plus one quarter, right? So it's the same. So if you want to do quarter two, right? So quarter two is earlier plus one quarter, and latest time is year plus two quarter, right? So you have to think like this. January 1st plus one quarter, that is quarter ending is 31st March, right? And then latest time is, that is the earliest time. So 31st March is earliest time, and latest time is what? Quarter plus two, second quarter. So March, from 31st March, April, May, June, right? So this is second quarter. It's like this, right? Right. So that is how we can set up quarters. Like, so while we are at it, we can just create all the quarters, right? So Q3 and Q4, right? Start of year plus Q second quarter, latest time is start of year plus third quarter. Again Q4, start of year plus third quarter, latest time start of year plus fourth quarter, right? Okay, so what if we want to do like this business week, right? So Splunk has last business week to date Splunk have, right? So if you want this business week, right? So that is like this, right? So we have to do this business week, right? Earliest time plus one day at week, so that is Monday, right? Latest time plus 6th day at week, right? So that is this business week, right? So let's say so the one other thing that I find people use is, in this option you have 15 minutes, 60 minutes, but then no 2 hour, no 3 hour, no 5 hour, no whatever hour, right? So what we can do is, let's say I want 3 hours, right? So what I can do is, I can add something here, right? So last 3 hours is header label in the last 3 hours, right? Earliest time is minus 3h, that is minus from now last 3 hours, right? Latest time is now, right? So all I have to do is I just have to type in latest time is equal to now. So let me just type in, right? Right. So we have that, right? So now let's say we want last 6 months, right? So there's no option for last 6 months. We have last 7 days, last 30 days, but no last 6 months, right? So if I want to do it like this, what I'll do is like this. right? Last 6 month, earliest time last 6 month, latest time now. Okay, so let me just put the L. Latest time is now, right? Okay, let me just clean this up quickly. Right. So the way this thing works is it is defined in times.conf. So you get your you can read on what this config file is all about in this times.conf. It is in documentation, right? Times.conf. So you can let's quickly Google what this is all about. Splunk at D. Okay. So I don't have it time modifiers. Okay, so it's somewhere here. If you read the documentation, it will tell you what this time modifiers are all about, right? So how you can define different. So it will tell you how to play around with time, so that you can actually see different formats, right? You can see different formats here, right? Okay, so now we have saved the file, right? So we have the file saved, right? And now next thing what we do is we have to restart the server, right? So once the server restarts, we can check the drop down, and then from there we can see how to go about it, right? Okay, so server is restarting. So there is a few documentations on what are functions that you can actually use for defining time, right? Okay, so now the Splunk server restarted. Right, now if we go to presets, right? Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, previous year, this business week, right? So business week to date. So what else did we define? The last 6 months, right? So what else was there? So let's say cat times conf last 3 hours, right? Last 3 hours, right? So if I put like this, and if I run the search, it will actually give me the last 3 hours. This server hasn't been on for last 3 hours, but then yeah, it will actually look for the last 3 hours, right? So yeah, so this is how you control this setting, right? All the settings are controlled from the file called times.conf, right? A good explanation is written here. You can read about it, right? It's very straightforward, and once you get the basics right, you can have some really good use cases like this one. So this is done by in epoch time, right? So the epoch time is the Linux time, right? So let's say, so what this thing is talking about is converter, right? So what this thing is all about is so this is Linux time, right? 137.82.7.800. So this is the so they are trying to create a use case where they want to look for the fall semester 2013. So that will be the autumn months, right? So if you take this time, right, and then if you go to epoch converter and let's put this time in, right? They are looking for date from September, right? So and they want date till latest time is December, right? So this one we can actually know, right? So now let's say you want to convert regular time to epoch time, right? So let's say you want to convert the time, so let's put 2003, right? And then you get the epoch time. So now let's say you want to start date as 2003 410 this month, right? 2003. So you can put the start date here. You go back to Splunk, right? And then you define your start date. Earliest time you put this number. Earliest time is this number, and latest time, let's say if you want 2005, you can say latest time is this one. So there's a lot of different use cases that you can define, right? And based on your customers feedback, you don't have to ask the customer to put in relative time every time. And then let's say the customer is a heavy user of Splunk, right? They are going to have difficulties putting this time every time, right? And then let's say they want to run search 5 hours, customer will do this setting at least 50 times. Instead of that, we can just say, okay, from the drop down, last 3 hours, right? And just run, right? It will make the life of the customer, the end customer, much easier, right? Yeah, check out this document. It is times.conf. You can read about it, pretty straightforward. Follow the video and you will be done in no time. That's it for now, guys. We'll speak later.